So hello everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar. So today's topic is securing your DevOps journey. I'll give a little bit introduction about myself. So I'm Gauri Yadav and I'm working as a senior front-end developer at JFrog. I've got a good share of experience with DevOps journey, but my area of expertise lies in front-end and I have a good share of experience in the back-end as well. So the agenda for today's webinar is to understand what is the importance of security in the software supply chain, why do we need it, and why this word shift left and shift right is buzzing around in the DevSecOps world. What are the challenges that a developer faces if their product or application is unsecure in a software supply chain, and how we can mitigate those software challenges with the JFrog Power products? So with this slide, I want to highlight one of the major attacks that have happened in software supply chain attack in the past decade, starting off with the Kaseya VSA server attack. This happened because of the multiple vulnerabilities that were found in the Kaseya VSA server that gave the code execution access to the unauthorized attackers. The other attacks that I want to highlight is SolarWinds and 3CX, which happened because of injection of malware. Now, SolarWinds was the company that was primarily developing products for the IT professional, and this attack basically gave the access to the attackers for the client data, which is a very massive attack in the software supply chain world. Lastly, I want to highlight the CodeCoff attack that happened because of secret leak in the one of the hosted Docker image of their system. Now, continuing with that, I would like to highlight the stat over here that was given by the Gartner, which is a very popular report, that over 2/3 of the US businesses got under the software supply chain attack in last year, which is quite a big number. Now, the importance of security stems from the fact that the sheer ubiquity of the software. Software is no longer residing in a standalone application in your personal computer. Rather, it is penetrating to every corner in the digital infrastructure through IoT devices, cloud devices, aviation devices, your grids, your smart home, smart cars, right? So this omnipresence of the software in the software supply chain makes it as a lucrative target for the attackers to infiltrate your system, steal the sensitive data, and disrupt the operations. And this we can clearly understand from the recent outage that has happened in the world, where a single IT breakdown led the complete disruption of the entire operations in the world. Now we would like to talk about that why these many attacks have started creeping in our software supply chain. Now this is a very good report that I want to highlight that was done by Synopsys open source security and risk analysis report stats. As we can see over here, 96% of the total code bases that were assessed by this report has got open source contained in it. And 77% of all the code in those code bases originated from open source. Now we all know that something that is taken from open source, we are not fully aware of the lines of code that are there, the dependency that they have used. So they can definitely pose a big risk in our system. From the license perspective, the report told us that 53% of the total code bases contain license conflicts and 31% of the total code bases has got open source that had got no license or custom license, which can lead to a potential threat if deployed in a production environment. From the security point of view, I would like to highlight that 84% of the code bases that were assessed for the risk had the vulnerabilities. Now, vulnerabilities meaning that these are the potential threats that a malicious attacker can make use of to attack your system. And 74% of the code bases assessed for the risk had got high risk vulnerabilities. By high risk, I mean vulnerabilities are basically calculated on the basis of public provided data, that is CVSS score, that is Common Vulnerability Scoring System, wherein any vulnerability, if it is scoring above 7, is categorized in the category of high and critical. And those vulnerabilities are definitely meant to be fixed. 91% of the code bases assessed for the risk contain open source components that were at least 10 versions behind the latest version. Now, let's think that we as a developer generally believe in just continuing our code base with the legacy code base, right? We don't want to upgrade any of the dependencies. Now just think, if any package dependency that was used in our code base was like written 10 years back, right? And we have not updated the version, then what would happen? We as a developer are not focusing on those dependencies that are already used in our code base, but attackers in these 10 years have upgraded themselves to penetrate through those loopholes and can cause a severe harm to our system. Hence the term DevSecOps, which has been coined recently, and it's more of a cultural shift and a thought process shift that we have to definitely bring into the DevOps journey. DevSecOps primarily states that security needs to be made an integral part in a DevOps journey. Now, I would like to show you one stat over here, which basically tells us that on an average in an organization, the ratio between the developers to the ops team to the security personnel is 200 is to 5 is to 1. This means that if any security threat, if found during the release life cycle, then we have a very limited number of security personnel that might not have the technical expertise to understand the security ramification that a particular vulnerability can pose. That means DevSecOps totally focuses on shifting left and making sure that most of the security and compliance procedures needs to be taken as left as possible in the DevOps journey by the developers and the ops team. Now, I would like to talk about what is shift left in the DevOps journey or in the DevSecOps world and why everybody is talking about it. Shift left means that identification of the threat and implementation of the remediation steps for those threats as early as possible in the development journey will definitely give us good security posture to your product. As well as, more importantly, the companies that are not focusing in the sec part of the DevSecOps are more likely to be exposed to the risk of getting threats at the time of risk, which will definitely have increased cost to the company. Because just imagine if you find a threat during the release process, right, of your application or deployment, then and it requires a code change, then what all things that we need to do? We need to make a code change, a review has to happen of that code chain, we have to do our individual testing, a regression testing needs to be done, so many, again the approvals for the release needs to be taken. So this is basically implying that development effort hours and the all the time that is required to get the necessary approval and the testing is getting affected, which is definitely an effect to the plan, and might be it can cause an effect to the reputation of the company, because some important client might be waiting for that feature to be rolled out, right? So we should definitely focus on the shift left part of implementation of security in the software supply chain. Now, I would like to highlight this report by the Gartner, which again highlights that by 2027, 50% of the software engineers will be using ML-powered coding tools. That's why we need to be make sure that we as a developers are making use of as much as of the security tools that are possibly available, and to implement that in our day-to-day coding practices. Now, coming on to the what are the challenges that a developer face if their application or product is not secured, is that you can see over here. Just yeah, you can see over here that if the product is not secure, or if we are not writing a secure code, then at least 4 days a month is been spent by 60% of the developers in the software supply chain, which is quite a big amount, right? And you can see over here the stat that is given, which is a very interesting stat that you can see over here, that was carried out on a top 200 Docker Hub community images. That let's take an example of 10 vulnerabilities that were found. Only 26%, that means only 3 out of 10 were actually exploitable by the attackers. But if we don't have this kind of intelligence already implied in our application or in our DevOps journey, then we will spend our time fixing all the 10 threats, right? So we need to have this kind of intelligence applied in our security tools. Also, with this stat over here, that basically tells us that 25% of the security teams are already spending time in remediating these vulnerabilities. Now, I would like to highlight one of the constant evolving threats that are possibly found in the software supply chain attacks nowadays is the injection of the malware links into the Docker Hub repository description, which, if clicked by the customer, would download a malware into their system or can take them to a fraudulent website that will ask for their financial credentials, like maybe debit card details or credit card details, right? And that can cause a very high financial distress to them. Now, I would like to touch upon this topic over here, that how we can mitigate these challenges with the help of JFrog powered products. So over here, I have shown you a bit of a software supply chain crisp picture of JFrog, wherein we can see the three main steps of the software supply chain. First being coding, second build and test, third being the deployment. Now, as you can see over here, at the very first step of writing the code, which is as shift left as you can possibly get in a software supply chain, JFrog provides four of the products already there for you to mitigate any of the threats that could basically hamper your release pipeline or can have an effect to your release. I will touch upon in details of these products in further slides over here. And you can see during the build and test and deploy, we have advanced products of security like X-ray and advanced security that not just only scans your first party source code, but also the binaries. And binaries, as we all know, are the main threats that are the main position where a possible threat, a malicious attacker can induce in our software supply chain attack. Now, to first product I would like to talk about in JFrog is the JFrog Curation. Now, JFrog Curation basically helps you to block any of the malicious packages, threats, or vulnerabilities that could possibly enter your organization. And with this product, it's as simple as clicking a single click that you can find out what packages are outdated or any of those are out of license at the very simple step of single command. It gives you frictionless developer experience because just imagine if you are able to know the information at the very first step of downloading a package into your code, right? You get to know that this package is not allowed by your organization to be downloaded or it poses a certain threat, right? Then you will not even look at that version and you will switch to the another version, right? So if this kind of issue is caught later in the review process, and a reviewer might ask you to change the version at later stage of development, so it can cause a lot of effort, rework, and cost to the company, right? End-to-end visibility and governance can be done with the help of a dashboard that I would like to show later in the demo that I'm going to do for this product. Now, there is a dashboard wherein you can see what all packages were blocked or downloaded by any of the developers that were working in your organization. So I would like to just switch back to a small demo of this product. So let's start by creating a remote repository. So this is the JFrog platform where I'm going to create a remote repository. So for this demo, I'm going to create an NPM report repository. I'm going to name it as DevSecOps demo. I'll just copy it for future reference. You can see over here, this field of URL is coming as pre-populated, which is like the production NPM package manager URL, wherein from all the downloads happen for any of the developer that is using a JavaScript or a front-end based library in their code or project. Just that is needed, and you can create a remote repository like this. Now, once that remote repository is created over here, you can just validate also that it's created like this. I will enable the curation settings for the same. Now, this setting, as you can see, is for the admins who can turn on this entire product feature or turn it off also if they don't want to leverage this feature at all in the organization. But we in JFrog definitely emphasize on using this, because this is like a firewall which will definitely help you block any of the malicious packages from even entering into your organization. Now, this is the place where I'll enable the scanning for our project that is kept in our local system like this. I will enable this state, and you can see here a description is telling the user as an informatory message that you are about to connect this remote repository to a curation service. After this, the repository will be bound by the relevant policies. Policies meaning that what all conditions will be implying to block certain packages or dependencies in this repository. So I'm going to enable it like this. Okay, so we have enabled it. Now we'll go to the curation tab over here in the application, where I'll be creating curation policy. Just now we discussed that it will be basically a condition on which the blocking of the packages will happen. So I'm going to create a policy like this. We'll name it as DevSecOps demo policy like this. I'm going to map it to the repository that we have just now created, so as to get the specific results for this demo. So you can see that this has been added. What condition I want to apply for this demo is that package version is age, new version available. This, and you can see a complete detail of this policy is shown over here on the right hand side. So it gives a very meaningful information to the person who's creating policy also, so that they are very much aware, because once you have this policy implemented for this repo, any package that will meet this condition will be blocked and will not be allowed by the developers to be used. Once you do that, waivers, as in if you want to maybe allow certain version of certain packages, you can have it. Maybe some developers are still relying on certain version that you want to continue in your organization for some time. So you want to, you can add that as a waiver. But I'm letting go of this one for this demo right here. And the action that I'll be choosing is block. Dry run is the action which basically is here to test your policy. It will create a report in the dashboard that we earlier discussed, but it will not block the packages. But I'm going to block the packages for this demo like this using this action over here. And you can get the notification about the same by providing your email over here. Once you do all of the steps and these marks are checked, you can save the policy like this. Now we have done all possible things that we had to do in the JFrog platform. Now comes the part where I'll connect my local project, which is an NPM demo over here. Now you will see that I have got a front-end project like this, which has got like a package JSON, all the code is there in the app folder, right? So this is the front-end project that I want to scan for curation before even I start writing the before even I start writing the code in this project. So what I will do is, I will first make sure, so I'm going to make use of the JFCLI product, which I'll be talking in detail going further in our webinar. And this is also one of the major shift left product that we have introduced, which basically allows you to connect to all the JFrog services that are sitting in a production environment with the comfort of your own local system. So how we can make sure that we are connected to that environment? So I'm going to write this command jfconfig s. You can see it is showing that we are connected to Z-Node Dev Master. And as you will notice over here, this is the same environment where I have created the remote repository and attached a policy to the same, right? So this is how you will be doing in your production environment. You can attach it. If you want to add new server, you can add like jfconfig add, and you can add by giving the name. But since we have already configured with the this Z-Node Dev Master, I'm going to go ahead with this. And once it's showing that you are connected, the next command that you just need to do is npm c to make sure that you're connecting your local project to the curation services that are present in the production environment of JFrog. So this is an interactive CLI. It asked me one question that, okay, this file exists because I have run the scan earlier also. So I'm going to overwrite it like this. Resolve dependencies. Yes. Set Artifactory server ID. This we can select via tab. Like this, I'm going to select Z-Node Dev Master, which is our current connected production platform. So it is making the connection between the platform and your local system like this. Once it is done, it is asking for the repository name that we have given. So, okay, this is the one that I had created just now, right? DevSecOps demo. I'm going to select that. Deploy project artifacts. No, we don't want to deploy right now. Now you can see a successful message, npm build config successfully created. That means a connection between the production environment and the curation services that are residing there has been made successfully between the environment and your local system, which is your npm demo project. Now, the only command that I want to see and do to see all the packages that will be blocked by my organization, I have to do JFCA. So just with the help of two commands, you can see that we are going to get curation status for 83 nodes. Now you can see over here in my project, if I'm going to show you a package.json, I have like 4 uh, dependencies, but it is going to search for 83 nodes as per the CLI over here. So this means that it is not only checking the direct dependency, but it is also checking all the child dependencies that are there that your main package is comprised of. You might be using only Express.js, but Express.js itself is comprised of several child dependencies that can be having the vulnerabilities, right? For which we have set the policy. Now you can see over here the detailed report that you have seen over here coming in your CLI that you should be upgrading the NC regex package that you have used in your package.json to 6.0.1. The one that you have used is 3.0.0 and it is blocked. Why? Because it is aged and a new version is available. And how much old it is? It is 2631 days old. You can see it has violated the policy that we had created. And not only the direct package vulnerability it is showing over here, it's also showing why EGS we should not be using, because it has got vulnerable child dependencies like minimatch, color name, etc. Now was as simple as using two commands to see the details. And if we want to see it in a more user-friendly manner, let me search. You can see all of that detail that we just now saw in the CLI are coming in a much user-friendly manner in this dashboard that any admin or any fellow developer can just have a look before writing their code base and get to know what all packages type, names, and versions are blocked already in your organization and via which conditions, right? So this was curation. Now I would like to switch to the back to our presentation over here. This is the same snapshot that I've taken from the demo. So I'll be skipping that for this one. Now you would wonder that from where Curation got all this intricate details of vulnerability versions that it blocked the packages, right? So JFrog Curation basically banks on JFrog Catalog, which is a comprehensive knowledge base of public and proprietary data of over 4 million open source packages. It has got not only the information about vulnerabilities that a particular dependency can pose, but also it has got all the licenses that a particular version has. And also it has the details like OpenSSF score, which is like the public provided data or the score for any open source package that is there. So we as a developer, when we have to use any of the package version, right, we generally look for GitHub stars or what license does a package has. We don't look at the security part of it as of now, right? But this over here, if you'll go to this UI, which is also present in our platform, You can search for the package and you will get all the details that a package has for its direct package as well as the child dependency, because just now we saw that couple of direct packages that we have used in our JavaScript project, it has got vulnerable child packages dependencies, right? So you can see over here, it like for this UI, we had searched for a couple of 10 versions, right? For NPM, PyPy, Maven, Go, right? And it is showing what a license it had, if it has the vulnerability, and this is just the landing page. If you click on a particular version, it will have a much more detailed UI for you. And also catalog not just tells you individual package version details, it also helps you to compare different packages. So let's suppose if you want to know which version of cryptography 3 package you should use, right? You can parallelly compare different versions of cryptography like this, and you will get to see, okay, this one has got vulnerabilities, right? And but its open score is good, but the other one, it has got no vulnerabilities. MIT lessons, which we generally look for, right? But the open SSF score is pretty low, which means that it can pose a security threat if it is used in your code. But the third one over here, you can see that there are no vulnerabilities. It has got good licenses and its open SSF score is good enough to be used. So you should be going ahead with 41.0.7 version. So this is how Catalog helps a general developer in day-to-day coding journey, as well as curation banks on it. And this database has been enriched by our JFrog research team by the minute as we speak over here. Now I'll touch upon the shift left with the JFrog SaaS ID plugin. So this is the product which basically has helped the developer, when if they'll use the same, to go as shift left as possible in the software supply chain journey, because this tool basically scans the vulnerabilities right in your ID where you are writing your first line of code. It works at the source code level with the speed of scans that is 2000 line of code per second. It's that fast. It doesn't need any of the build environment. It works in your local development environment. So, and it has got support with the most popular IDs that are there in the market, like ID, VS Code, and Android Studio, Eclipse. It has got support for the same. So I'm going to show a quick demo of how easy it is if you have installed this plugin in your ID in your day-to-day coding practice. So I'll go to my ID over here, and this is the plugin that I'm talking about, which is basically a JFrog plugin over here that you can find in your app store like this. You can install by the name JFrog, and it will be coming as this icon on the left. Now, all you need to do is to click on this scanning button over here, and it will show you meaningful logs coming in the output, that what it is currently doing and how it is searching for any of the dependencies like this. Like, for example, it is here mentioning that it is scanning the descriptor for any dependency issues. It is scanning the IAC, that is infrastructure as code issues. It is searching for any of the CV, that is the security related vulnerabilities in your code base like this. And it is also searching for secret scan issues. Once it is done, it will tell you scans completed, and you can see over here that how with just of a click of a button of a plugin, you can see what all vulnerabilities were there in your code base. And it also showed a certain crossed vulnerability, right? Which is the intelligence that I was talking about that one needs to have in their security tool, that will tell that you don't need to say, then you don't need to fix all these 4 vulnerabilities over here, right? Because these are not applicable. The only one that you need to fix is the one over here, which is not crossed out, right? Like this one. So we'll click on this one. So it will tell you like what is the issue with this. So it is telling that it is basically telling that this is the problem over here, right? Why you should not be using and what you can do to fix the same. So it is telling that you should update this direct dependency because it is happening in the direct package that you have used. You can fix it by upgrading it to version 4.19.2 like this. So let's try this over here. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to replace this version to this one, save it. I'm going to delete this package log JSON, which might have some cached data for the old package that we had installed, right? I'm going to delete this one, and I'll delete the node modules. So both of that is deleted. Now I'm going to hit again npm I to install the latest version that we have given for the express, and then we're going to scan to see whether that medium severity still exists or not. So it's installed. Now let me just rescan it. We had this one earlier. Now let's rescan this one again. You can track the progress as discussed earlier in this logs over here coming in the output tab. And you can see earlier it found 4 unique CVs issued. Now it's found 3 only. And you can see if once it is completed, I'm going to drill down the package.json to see whether that one exists or not. Scans completed. And as you can see, that medium vulnerability is gone. Voila. So that's how simple and how shift left we have come with this product. Just with the help of a single click, you could get to know the vulnerability that is there in your code. What are the remediation steps that you can use to fix the same? So that's the power of the shift left ID plugin of JFrog Prod. Coming back to the slide, I'll touch upon the another products that we have. This slide over here basically talks about the one in the demo I have showed for the package dependency, but also this plugin helps you identify if there is any threat in the line of code. Because as we know, we are using all ML part products like chatbots, Copilot, right? That is suggesting us to write the code. So those lines can also pose some threat like this. It is showing that it has got a high vulnerability. But also with the help of a single click, it showed us the remediation that we should be using. And once we used it like this and rescan, it has gone. The high risk vulnerability that could have posed a security threat if deployed in the production is gone. Next product that I would like to touch upon is JFrog Frogbot. Now, this is a very powerful product because it has got the automation embedded in it. It scans the pull request instantly as soon as it is raised by your code base, because many of the times the VI developers are not using the IDs. They're directly using the VI editor, editing the file and pushing the PRs, right? So this bot basically scans the PR as soon as they are raised and make sure that any of the fixes that it is doing automatically in that PR is not causing any new vulnerabilities in the PR. So, and it also scans your repository periodically. It works with the GitHub, GitLab, Azure repos, and the Bitbucket projects and support most of the used technologies that are there, NPM, Maven, Gradle, Go, etc. So I'm going to show you quick example of 2 PRs that were scanned by the Frogbot. You can see over here, there was a 717 version, which was scanned by the Frogbot, and it showed that it has got a medium level vulnerability and the details for the same. What it did, that it has the fix implemented and raised a next PR, which was a 718 version, and you can see it has remediated that vulnerability and there are no further vulnerabilities in this PR. So this has completely automated the process of even fixing the remediation by yourself, by writing the code yourself. It has been taken care by the Frogbot itself. So coming back to this slide over here, I would like to touch upon the third product, which helps in the shift left of the processes in our software supply chain, which is a JFrog CLI, which we have seen earlier also in the curation example, like how with the help of 3 commands in our terminal, we were able to connect to the production platform and we had got access to all the powerful services that Artifactory, X-Ray, and Advanced Security provides. It's written in Golang and it is a complete interactive CLI. Like we saw, it keeps asking you questions. You just have to input the answer and it will help you do the job for you. There's another recent command that we have introduced, JF audit which if you'll put in your, which if you'll write in your backend or front end projects, it will show you detailed scan results based on the vulnerable dependencies that are there in your project, any secrets that were found. Since no infrastructure as code issues were found, for example, the files like Terraforms, if that would have been there in your code base, so it will tell you that that was not found. And also the static application security testing in your code base, it will do that for you. And you can see it's pretty much very readable and in a tabular format over here with the color coding for the severities to let you know what all are the important areas that you need to be focusing about. Next, I would like to talk about our advanced products like X-Ray and Advanced Security. Now, X-Ray helps you to deliver trusted software releases at a higher speed and at a larger scale. How? By doing early detection of vulnerabilities. It lets you do the on-demand scans, meaning you can scan any of the artifacts like jar, tar, war file present in your system, even the Docker Hub images, by using the JFrog CLI product, and it will show you the details in the platform. Also, it helps you generate the SBOM reports, which is a very important report of software bill of materials that basically tells you what your main artifact is comprised of, which is very important to analyze and understand the dependencies that your main artifact is made up of. It has got a vulnerability database that it looks for to basically tell you what are the latest CVs that are present for your particular artifact that is scanned, and also the latest remediation steps that has been given by our research team. And it has got also support for MLOps. Now you can scan your Hugging Face ML packages also using the JFrog X-Ray product. And the last product that I want to talk about from JFrog is the Advanced Security, which has got the intelligence that I was talking about and discussed multiple times in the several demos that I've showed you. That contextual analysis basically tells you that what all vulnerabilities are actually applicable for you to fix and what all are not applicable. Because if, let's say, out of 10, only 3 you are able to know, that only 3 you need to fix and 7 you don't need to fix, then that much time you can save for writing any of the innovation code that you want to write, or building any new features for your organization and bring more value to your company. The other features that Advanced Security provides is the secret detection, which is a very important feature because you should be having this kind of tool in your project that should be able to tell you that any of the password or API keys are left exposed by maybe a new joinee or a not so experienced developer. That can pose a very crucial threat to the product, because if such information has been taken by any of the malware attacker, then it can definitely give them a CRUD access to your database. It also helps you to detect any infrastructure as code security, for example, in any of the Terraform related files, right? Any of the misconfiguration detection also can be found with the help of Advanced Security, and it also helps you do the SAST. And it tells you the remediation steps right at the fingertips. If you click on a particular CV, like we saw, it tells you why it was caused, at what line that vulnerability was introduced in your code base, and how you can fix it. Now, I would like to talk about the attacks that I started off my webinar with, how these attacks could have been mitigated had these companies been using the JFrog products. Now, Kaseya VSS server attack, like we discussed, was basically introduced because of the multiple vulnerabilities that were there in this server. This could have been prevented with the SAST shift left products that we have while writing the code, or with the help of X-Ray, because it could have alerted on the relevant CVs in the deployed VSS servers. SolarWinds and 3CX, because they were caused due to malware injection, this could have been prevented because with the help of the release bundle signing of X-Ray. CodeCop attack could have been prevented with the help of JFrog Advanced Security, because this happened because of a secret leak, and Advanced Security gives us a detail about the secrets that are there present in your code base. Now, I would like to show you a quick short tour of our platform, wherein I had earlier scanned a Docker repo, and I will show you how the vulnerabilities are shown in our platform like this. This was the artifact in my Docker repository that was Xmas latest. The file basically scan is manifest.json. If you click over here, you will see a very user-friendly overview dashboard that anybody can have a look to see, okay, 3 are applicable, not 44 are not applicable, and 121 are others, right? If you click on this filter like here, you will see that only 3 vulnerabilities are applicable and that you need to fix. If I am going to clear the filter like this, you will see out of 236, only 3 are applicable and only 3 you need to spend your time to fix the same. And how will you fix it? You'll just click over here. It will tell you the remediation at your fingertip. Contextual analysis tab basically tells you the line of a code base and what basically particular code was the issue. And JFrog research, you can see over here in the example, YAML.fullload is the vulnerable code. And JFrog research suggested that you should be using YAML.saveload to fix the vulnerability. Along with this, you have the details like SPOM we discussed earlier, which basically tells all the child dependencies that your artifact is made up of. Malicious packages, if they are there, which is a very important information to know. If your package has it, you should need to fix the same because it can pose a major security threat in your pipeline. If any secrets were there, you can see here over here that there were 3 secrets found. If you click on over here, it will tell you the exact file name, what API key like this, and the line number it has been found, right? And you need to fix the same. Similarly, it was found. So, and services and applications are related to the misconfigurations. So this is how X-ray and advanced security basically helps you to understand the security vulnerabilities, secrets, malicious packages that a particular artifact can have in your software supply chain. So lastly, I want to tell that with the help of JFrog Power Products, a developer has like complete freedom of choice to code and deploy. You can see over here 32 plus technologies and packages JFrog is supporting that a developer can make use of, and all the popular languages we support, and the deployment of the same can be done in these multiple cloud platforms that we support over here. So this was all that I would like to talk about in our webinar today. Thank you.